What's up, everyone? I'm Evan Wick,
And I'm Patrick Spray,
and this is episode number 10 of Washed Up.
washed up. What's
hmm
up, dude?
Hopefully that one's in sync. Nothing much, just hanging out, training a little bit, getting ready for NCAAs with these guys here at Cal Poly.
Yeah. Uh, you had three guys qualify. How many guys?
Four guys qualify, so three made it, one wild card, and then we have the alternate, Dashiell Lamer.
Alternate Dashiell Lamer. Interesting. So he's got to go there and make weight and everything.
He's going to go there, make weight, everything, and I think the odds are incredibly slim that anyone who is a wild card actually gets to participate in the tournament. But we had 2 years ago, Dom Demas was the alternate. When it ended up going like 3-2, so it happens.
I would say it definitely happens. I remember that Nebraska kid, maybe a Renteria, like missed weight one year.
Yeah, that
You
was
remember that?
my freshman year. Jason Renteria missed weight
Yes,
at NCAA's in Cleveland,
I remember that.
which is it's funny because that was like news to the whole tournament. It shocked everyone they didn't make weight. That's a big deal for D1 coaches not making weight, especially if you don't make weight for the NCAA tournament. That sticks.
Yeah,
People
that's
remember
insane.
that. Yeah, people will remember
I
that. You not making weight for the NCAA tournament.
I mean, I don't know how you can just blatantly miss weight at the end of the like what you're working for all year, which you've worked for multiple years.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've got one
it's a
job.
baffling scenario.
Yeah, because I mean I know some people who are cutting a lot of weight. They don't miss weight in NCAA's.
You're gonna
So
miss weight,
that's
dude. You miss weight for like a duel or something. And if you're making weight for duels and stuff, there's no way. There's no reason. Sorry.
yeah, exactly. But I think it's just those guys are kind of checked out at the end of the season. That probably I heard that Renteria wasn't too happy at Illinois. He's doing good
Well,
at
no, he transferred like 4 or 5 times, didn't he?
I don't know about 4 or 5, but he transferred to Oregon State. I think maybe did he go to Iowa one year or something?
I thought 4 or 5 was an exaggeration. You're right, but yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Iowa. I thought maybe Nebraska, and then Illinois, then Oregon State. So like he's been around the block, I think.
Yeah, it seems like that's more normal though in recent times. Like Austin Gomez has been what, three schools? Iowa State, Wisconsin, Michigan.
Yeah,
It's kind of normal, especially now with NIL.
Soriano did that. He was kind of one of the first ones to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was one of the first ones, but he was definitely like he was a
He was a
marquee guy.
Well, he was a guy that I think was like one of the first to transfer within the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, because he went Penn State to Rutgers. It's just, yeah, I
Like I
guess
don't think
it's
that was a
normal now for guys
very
to be,
yeah,
yeah, wasn't very
but
common at the time.
okay.
I remember our coaches were freaking out about it.
Yeah, like I thought that like inquired a penalty or something back then. Obviously, it's different now. I think that was kind of the
Dude,
start of the leniency of it all.
yeah, it's so strange that back in the day, you were literally not allowed to leave unless your coach allowed you to leave.
Yeah, it was kind of
And they could
crazy.
they could pick and choose what institutions you were able to go to.
I think that's too much power for the coaches. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the coaches should have some power so that these kids can't leave as easily. I think there needs to be a better like thing in place of this. I think we've had that conversation before, though.
Yeah, but I mean, why not? I mean, at this point now with NIL, I mean, these guys are pretty much free agents. Do you have something against like professional athletes switching teams too many times?
Well, no, there are professional athletes getting paid handsomely for it. Whether you're good or whether you're bad, if you make a team, you get paid.
Well,
I
these
think
guys
there's
get paid
kids
handsomely
who
for it now.
get the. I don't think everyone is,
Not everyone, but the guys who are transferring, substantially more of them are getting paid.
and I'm saying that I don't think it should be as easy for them to do that. I think that there need to be stipulations there. I think anybody who disagrees with that is ensuing chaos.
Ensuing chaos. I mean, would you say we have chaos now? I mean, guys are allowed to do what they want. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of
Would you
interesting.
say
It's
that it's a perfect
exciting to see
system?
who's gonna. I don't know what perfection would be, but I don't have anything against guys leaving to go get some money.
That you misheard my argument if that's how you took it. Yeah, I'm not saying that I disagree with guys being able to leave and go get money other places. I think there should be You shouldn't be able to do that 10 times or 10, 5 times. I shouldn't be able to go to 5 different institutions, in my opinion. If you can't figure it out at the first two, why you think the third one's going to be any better? Or are you just chasing money at this point and you're not going to school for the education? What's it about?
I would say
What's NCAA
there's
about?
plenty of wrestlers I know who went to college and did not prioritize education whatsoever. I mean, there's majors
Yeah,
at
but
any
that's not.
institution that you can take.
So you think the answer to for those kids is let's just make it a free agent market and just say, oh, well, he's not here for school anyway. Let's just make it less like school. No, I don't understand. Like the NCAA is a school based institution. You have to kind of take that with how you're looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, like their livelihood, and they've been working in wrestling for 17 years. They definitely deserve to make some money and go to a school that's going to pay them. What if they transfer to an institution before they were good? Now they're good. They want to transfer again to get some money. Now they're transferring 3 times. Should that not be allowed?
Uh, yeah, no, I don't. I know you're trying to put me in a box here, but no, I think if you end up money chasing, no, I don't think that that should be allowed.
And I mean, I think anyway with the NIL, most coaches, if they're smart, are going to say you have to stay here for 2 years in order to get your money here.
They put that in the contract or what?
I would guarantee they put that in the contract.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't want to sign a wrestler who's says no to that. Says no, I only want to be able to wrestle here 1 year, just in case I blow up and can leave you guys.
Well, I mean, if they don't put that in the contract, though, that's definitely a possibility, and that's where I'm saying the NCAA. There should be a minimum amount of years of like if you transfer, say, okay, I'm going to school at Wisconsin. If I transfer to Minnesota, I think there needs to be a NCAA rule, not put it in the contract. No, the NCAA rule is, hey, you transferred in the middle of your 5 year length of competition that you're able to have, right? You have to spend at least 2 years at this university. I think whenever you sign a letter of intent, it needs to be a 2 year minimum.
2 year minimum letter of intent.
I
I can get
think
down with
that
that.
limits the number
Yeah,
of
I can get
moving
down with that.
kids between teams. So,
Yeah, 2 years is good.
okay,
That still makes guys who are like
we
Austin
agree.
Gomez transferring 2 times or 3 times. We agree.
Okay, good.
Good news. We agree. Um, lots of wrestling content here that we got going on. A few weeks ago
Yes,
had
sir.
the flow card. What'd you think about
Yep.
the flow card?
I thought it was pretty good, actually. I thought the wrestling was pretty good for the most part. I watched it when I was moving out of my other apartment, so kind of moving while I was watching. But I was impressed by a couple guys. Um, I would say for me, disappointment of the night was Taktani. I thought it was awesome that
Disappointed?
David Carr beat him, and I was disappointed because I remember watching him back in the Olympics, and he attacked so much. I thought like he was consistently getting the legs and kind of just put it on Dake. And I didn't see that
Yeah.
same wrestler wrestling David Carr. Like I didn't see a whole lot of attacks. I didn't see a whole lot of misdirections. Like the announcers were even like practically begging him, "Hey, he's really good at a misdirection. I don't know why he's not hitting it." You know what I mean? He
Yeah, I
just
think
didn't
Carr's
seem like he
defense
came
is really
out
solid.
there. I think his defense is really solid. Maybe that kind of hindered Tectoni's like desire to attack, but I didn't think either one of the Japanese guys attacked very much, and that's kind of like what they're known for.
Yeah, Takatani was coming out. He had like a some crazy walkout and he was promoting himself a lot before the match. I thought he was going to be on one, but he kind of didn't go out there and wrestle that way.
Yeah, it's an insane match by David Carr. To get that win is huge for him, I think. But
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, I think really it seems like a new foe has appeared for Kyle Dake.
Do you think so? I don't. Not yet. I don't think David Carr and Kyle Dake would be interesting to me. I
I
to
don't think
me, watching David Carr wrestle, he looks small compared to Kyle Dake.
I don't think he'd be substantially smaller than Kyle Dake. He looks pretty.
Maybe
He looks
not. Maybe
pretty
I'm wrong.
jacked. Yeah, I don't think that the
Yeah. See, I
first
disagree with that.
match. I don't think that the first match will be particularly super competitive, but I think these after Carr wrestles Dake for the first time, then it'll be close after that, and then we'll have a scrap on our hands. And I think that that could be the end of Kyle Dake. I could see David Carr being the end of Kyle Dake. This is kind of the new the new king of 74 appears.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of weird how. Do you think that David Carr's the best option to kind of dethrone Dake there?
Messenbrink could be good. They're in the same room though. Um, I wonder what Burrows is doing. I keep hearing that he's retiring and he's not retiring, so I don't want to say that he's retiring. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think Burrows is done. I don't think Burrows is not. I mean, we've just seen the gap kind of spread with between Dake and Burrows. I think David Carr could be the next guy. Nolf's out. That's big.
I
He's
don't.
good.
How much longer do you think Dake has?
Not very much, but he's
I
still
don't
in
think
it.
he has
He
that
didn't
left.
retire.
Yeah.
But I think Carr
I-
Carr
I'll
could give him a
I'll
run
take
for his
that take
money.
right now. I'll take that take right now. I don't think David Carr beats um, Kyle Dake.
I'll take it.
Not
I'd
anytime
say
soon.
if we have if we have three more opportunities for David Carr to make the world team slash Olympic team, I think he can beat Cal Dake for one of them.
So within the next 3 years, do you think if
Yeah,
Kyle
within the
Dake
next three
goes three
years.
years, he'll wrestle the fourth for the Olympics? How many years away are we? We're still three away, right?
Three away. I think yeah. I think we could see him. I think we
I'd
could
be
see him if
interested to see maybe year three of that. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 years,
I don't see
unless David
why
Carr shows me something. I
I
know he
think
beat just Tectoni, but sorry.
yeah, so he's got a head to head, not head to head, but he's got a common opponent that he's beat, and and honestly he kind of dominated that match. He even turned Takatani on top, which I thought was super impressive. Turning a foreigner on top. Japanese
Twice,
wrestlers are
right?
savvy on the mat. Twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was an incredibly impressive map. No way did I have David Carr winning that match, and he did. But I have heard that Carr and Dake wrestled at like the Olympic team camp when I was there, and it was super close. Or Carr got like the first few takedowns in a row. So I think Carr could be. It's going to be a really good opponent for Cal Dake. That'd be interesting.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that goes in the hot take jar. But yeah, I
I mean,
just
I
don't
think it
see
goes
it
in the hot
watching him
take jar
wrestle.
for me. It goes in the hot take jar for me. I think Carr beating Dake is a hot take on my part,
Okay.
not the other way around.
Well, I mean,
Spencer Lee versus
based off your sources, you're saying he's getting takedowns in the room.
yeah, it doesn't really mean anything though. In the room,
I mean,
it means
it
something, but
doesn't
it
mean
doesn't mean that
nothing.
much.
I was to say it doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah, it means very little though.
Okay.
Kyle
So
Dake
what were you just about
probably.
to say? Spencer Lee and
Uh, Spencer Lee and Ono, another match that I really thought would go the other way.
live up to
I
the
kind of
hype.
agreed. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think any of those matches live up to the hype, no matter what happens. They're so
That's fair.
good. You have to respect what they're doing, whether or not they're wrestling a slow paced match or a fast paced match. You like to see a fast paced match, but when an Olympic silver medalist in Spencer Lee and then a world champion, a dominant world champion in Ono, when they meet
Yeah.
up, that's always a match. That's always a sight to see. So I don't think it was going to live up to the hype for me no matter what. But I thought that Spencer Lee would beat him. He just didn't have much for him.
Yeah. He wasn't able to really level change below his head hands defense and attack his legs. Really.
Yeah, and I mean, I agreed with Reese Humphrey. Reese Humphrey was in an interview before the match and was saying that, Ono's good, but no one really had a chance to scout him. He kind of shocked everybody at Worlds, so now that we can scout him, it'll be a different story. And Spencer Lee is just so well established, and he's taken on so many challenges and been so consistent. I figured he'd take that one, but Ono impressed me even more. My stock in Ono goes up even more after that.
Is that because he kind of wrestled a different way to win? Like he wasn't that high paced guy. He was able to kind of be nasty and hand fight and hold position and kind of wrestle savvy.
Yeah, he wrestled super smart with those underhooks and getting his 1 points, his 1 point. I mean, the match was 3-2, but I think it was the only 2 points that Spencer Lee scored were past 70 points. So
Yeah, both of
I
them.
just thought he completely handled that match. I don't Spencer Lee, I don't remember him getting to his legs at all.
I didn't think it was that close.
No, it wasn't close. So Ono, although I thought overhyped going into the match, everyone's right about him. He's a dog. He's good.
Yeah, I don't think I was overhyped on him. I thought he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I just thought, okay, he surprises this guy, but we always see guys come in at Worlds and do great things. I'm sure Yanni Diakomahalis is a lot of foreigners probably thought great things about Yanni, and then he hasn't made a team again. I thought maybe Ono was one of those where he wins it and crushes it,
Right.
but he's not going to be as dominant come next year, the year after.
A little fat flash in the pan action. That makes sense.
Yeah. What is it? Flash in the pan?
Flash in the pan. Use that.
I've never heard that one. Never heard that one.
It's like it's fast, quick.
Yeah,
They're here now. They're not.
yeah. But our old teammate Gross also wrestled in that competition. What'd you think?
I thought he looked impressive, dude. The way he's able to just like contort his body and have balance on the edge and just not give up push-up points in weird spots with his foot up in the air is like mind-boggling to me. Like I think about
Yeah,
myself up there, I feel like I got pretty decent balance, and I just, dude, someone's running into me with my leg in the way. I don't know how you manage to just like plant your other foot and let him run right past you. I don't understand that.
yeah, because didn't DeSanto had his leg up in the air and somehow
Yeah, they're
Gross
on their
managed to get the step
feet.
out?
Yes, that's insane.
Yeah, that
Diakomahalis
was
type stuff.
impressive. Yeah, totally impressive. And Gross is training with high schoolers,
Yeah, he
presumably. I mean, he's
impressed me.
probably heading up to North Dakota State. But yeah, really impressive match. 10-0, 10-0 him.
I
And
think
he
he
said he
kind
was
of
going to do
just
it.
he kind of. I don't want to say DeSanto broke, but I think there was a little bit right there at the end of the match, like right before the 10-0 happened, where he was just like, dude, I've gotten to this guy's legs so many times. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that really hurts DeSanto. I've seen that. I remember Big Tens in 2020 when he would get to Gross's legs over and over and over again and couldn't finish. DeSanto breaks. DeSanto breaks when that happens. Usually guys are kind of stingy to the leg. They're not too funky when you get to the leg. I think guys who can scramble are trouble for DeSanto.
Yeah, that might be true. I also do you think that might be just be a personal thing that he struggles with is like maintaining like composure throughout the match.
Yeah, especially when the match is staying close, I think DeSanto has a hard time. I think he wants to
Yeah,
be
he's
ahead
not.
by big.
Well, yeah, he's not able to like establish his will on the other guys, so he starts to get like a little haywire.
Yeah, and I mean that's his style. His style is supposed to be overwhelming, and when guys don't get overwhelmed, what can he do?
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, I having to battle that hand fight for 6 minutes would be not something I would want to do regularly. Like that's a tough matchup for anybody. He's gonna beat guys he shouldn't beat just simply because of how much he's overwhelming them with the hand fight and just the pressure, putting the pace on him. He's gonna force mistakes and he's gonna catch wins that maybe surprise you, but I don't know how consistent that is.
do you think Gross can make the team at 65?
Give me a couple of the guys ahead of him right now in the rankings.
Do you think Gross has any shot whatsoever of beating Zane Rutherford?
I would say he has a chance. I would not bet on it.
I wouldn't bet on that at all.
I don't. I
That's
mean,
not
I
a
would
that's not
be
a
very
match I would.
surprised.
Yeah, he's a 33 pounder going up against a 49 pounder who teched and pinned his way through the NCAA tournament.
When you say it like that, I guess that's kind of putting it mildly, right?
I know. I want to believe in Gross. And I know it doesn't make any sense because I actually didn't think that he would beat DeSanto going into that match, but he proved me wrong. A lot of guys proved me wrong that match. I'm like Ben with his UFC picks, man. Anytime anyone asks me about wrestling, just assume the opposite is going to happen. I had Carr losing, I had Lee winning, I had Gross losing, and Jay's my boy, Jilo. He was on that card.
He impressed me. He looked
I
good.
thought I thought Marcus Coleman would take that,
I
and
just
he
thought
did.
Jay Ayalo technically throughout that match just impressed me. I thought he did most everything the right way.
He's doing a lot better now that he's went to UPenn. I always like the guys um, who wrestled at a lower level school. Like he wrestled at Virginia, trained at Virginia afterwards, and I just think kind of got stuck in a rut, made a change, and now he's doing a lot better. But I always like following those guys who did well at a school that wasn't that great.
Yeah,
You know,
they kind of stick out a little more.
yeah, they stick out a lot more. There's a kid from University of Ohio this year who I like watching, Thompson. He's good. It's
Okay,
just like University of Ohio. Those guys are not known for being that great. I think the kid's the 4 seed this year in NCAA's.
right.
And it's just like, man, how do you manage to stay so consistent and precise with your technique, even though you're at an institution that has not been known for that? Um, I like it.
Yeah, and I think it's probably fair to say that you don't have to go to one of the top tier institutions to be a good wrestler. It definitely helps in the process, but it's not a necessity.
Yeah, I think you don't need to go. Watching Big Tens
It makes it
last weekend.
incredibly easier.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State killed it. But they're getting the best guys. But I mean, you're seeing guys develop at schools like Illinois and Minnesota and Nebraska, where it's like those schools are starting with less and making much of the same. I mean, McAnally is a freshman going up against Strachey, who's Penn State's golden boy, and takes him into overtime. That's big.
Yeah, McAnally's tough.
McAnally stuff. A lot of those guys, the Big Tens were awesome to watch, man.
I
That
had a lot of
might
fun watching
be
them too.
that might be my favorite tournament. If next year when I'm in Wisconsin, man, I got to make it out to Big Tens. I don't know where they're going to be, but I've got to make it out there. Hopefully, tickets aren't too expensive, but that's the
Me
best
and
wrestling
Cole
tournament
Martin were
there
talking
is.
about it the other day. I think in the next 2 3 years it should be back in Madison. I think because the
Yeah,
last
probably
time
the
it was
Kohl
in
Center, right?
Madison was yeah. Last time it was in Madison was my sophomore year maybe. And
2014.
it's been a while. Yeah, like we got to be getting close to coming back around to Wisconsin.
We've got to be getting close. Yeah. Who was
But
in that tournament? Who did Graf wrestle? Graf had a good match in that tournament, right?
are we talking about Big Tens back then?
Yeah, back when they were in
That's
Wisconsin. Didn't
when
wasn't Graf wrestling in it?
yeah. I can't remember if Graf was wrestling or not. He probably was, but RT had kind of that breakout tournament that day. I think he beat Corey Clark. Kind of got the whole crowd riled up as he's running around.
Did he All
So
American that year?
I believe that's your All American. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, dude. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I mean it's like 13 years ago, so or probably 12 years ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll be
All
fun
right.
having it in Wisconsin. Let's talk about Big Tens.
Let's do
First,
it.
let's talk about Wisconsin. Let's get. Do you want to get the good stuff out of the way first, or the bad stuff out of the way first?
Let's start with the good.
Nicola Rivera
Let's.
pops off
Yeah, he had a good tournament. Very
again. A
good
guy who
tournament.
I wouldn't have thought that would have a good tournament, but he's a competitor, man. He's a gamer, man. Scrambly
Yeah.
took Ramos into overtime.
Yeah, twice
Matt
I
Ramos.
think he took him into overtime twice.
I don't think the
The
second
third.
time he took him in overtime. The first match, I think he took him in overtime.
Oh, maybe I missed that. For some reason, I thought it was the second time when I looked at the results. I didn't see the second match, but
Yeah, but
it's an
that was
impressive tournament
impressive.
for sure.
It makes me very optimistic about his NCAA run. I think he could do well at NCAA's. He's funky. He's picking up right at the end of season, which is always good to see. I mean, what's his name? The Iowa kid who beat him pretty good in the duel didn't
Joey
place
Cruz.
at the big. Yeah, Joey Cruz didn't. The California kid didn't place at the tournament. I think he needed a wild
Right.
card,
Yeah, he did.
and Nick Lahr takes fourth, which is great.
Yeah, that's
That's awesome.
definitely he's showing improvement throughout the year, which is good. He's got a Strickenberger second round if he can beat his UNI guy in the first round. Strickenberger's tough, man. Like he's
Dude,
dangerous and he's a dog too.
NCAA's is nuts, man. That's who he
Yeah.
pulls second round.
I mean, that's a 6 seed. Nicolar's the 11 seed.
God, it's just you see that he takes fourth at one of the toughest tournaments in the country. You think he's going to get some love. Strickenberger is an animal.
I mean, to be fair, Rivera, he's only got 5 losses, but I mean, one of them is to a Cruz who had to be a wild card. So that's naturally just going to bring his seed down,
Right. It's just, I
which,
don't you hear like to be an All-American, you only have to take top eight. It doesn't sound that big of a deal, but then you look at the bracket and
yeah.
you're like, dude, you've gotta be on one that day in order to be one of the top eight guys.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that
It's
is
impressive
nuts. He
just to be an
pulled.
All American.
We'll have to see how his backside goes. I really don't have any faith in him beating Strickenberger. Strickenberger is a freaking animal.
Yeah. I
Did you
kind of
see
have the
his
same
finals match in Big
thoughts on that
12?
match. I didn't see his finals match. I hopped on at 41 for Big 12s.
Dude, his finals match was insane in overtime.
Was he with
Kids almost
Spratley
had the
for that one?
takedown. Yeah, Spratley in overtime has his leg up in the air and somehow dives for the other leg, falls down, and somehow Strickenberger pulls his leg out and ends up right on top. I have no idea what happened. But yeah, Strickenberger's an animal. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Rivera's got an opportunity to win a match at least. I think he can beat that first kid. I haven't really studied his backside route too much, but I mean, I think this is his first year down at the tournament, right? Ideally, what are you looking at him? I mean, ideally he wins that first match, right? He gets the win over the guy he's seeded over. You want to see him
Right?
compete tough against Strickenberger. If he wins, that's just icing, right? If he loses, maybe you see if he can't win a match or two on the backside. But I would have. That's my expectation for him
Yeah.
on the high end. Like that, I
Gosh,
would consider that a good tournament for him.
top eight. Let's see the eight seed. Do you think that he can beat Sheldon Seymour from Lehigh? Okay, I don't.
I don't know
He
him,
can maybe
but I
Caleb
think
Smith
like
though, nine seed. That's tough. Caleb Smith, nine seed. That's tough to say that he can consistently beat Caleb Smith.
I'd agree. Steve
Um,
O'Pullen at 10. That's a tough one for him to turn around.
gosh, this Dean
Spratley at
Peterson,
7.
12. He's
That's what
beat
I
Dean
mean. Like
Peterson,
it's
but
just deep, dude. It's just deep.
my
I don't
gosh,
know.
yeah, he's got his work cut out
Who
for him. So does everyone else.
do you want to just do our picks as we go down the line? Might as well just do that. We're already here.
Well, I think we can just talk about
Or do you
the
want to wait
Wisconsin
till
guys first.
we? Okay, let's
Yeah,
do
wait
that
till
then.
the
You're
end.
right.
Yeah. Fugit, tough draw. He's got Nasir
Yeah,
Bailey second round. That's
that's
gonna be
not
tough.
fun. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
ideally he's winning that first round. From an expectation point.
yeah, this one, although going into Big Tens, it looked like Fugit was our best chance at an All-American. Looking at this bracket, number eight, Braden Davis, number nine, Braxton Brown. Hey, I think he's in a tough spot. That's gonna be tough for him, an All-American. He
Yeah.
was looking good going into the tournament. Didn't have a great tournament, but Cody Gable
That's
165 makes it. That was
yeah.
cool to see.
That's kind of the surprise of the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that we would see our third guy would be Lucas Connon, but he kind of fell through the cracks there, man. Didn't make it to the NCAA tournament.
Gable doesn't even have a wrestling match. That's kind of cool. He got the 31 seed.
31.
Yeah,
Wow.
32 is the only guy that has a wrestling there.
So he's got Peyton Hall first round.
First round.
Tough one. Sorry,
Yes, that
Cody.
is a tough draw.
Tough draw. Well, at
Um,
least he didn't pull the 32 or 33 seed. He would have pulled Mitchell Messenrink first round.
yeah, that would have
That's
sucked. Ooh,
I don't think
Mulvaney's
anybody in
the
this bracket.
17 seed. What if Mulvaney beats Mosher and it's Messenbrink and Mulvaney in the second round?
What if Mitchell Messenrink takes him?
Fair. I was just talking about that's pretty cool. There's two Wisconsin kids.
Yeah, it's interesting with the two
You
Wisconsin
just
kids,
like
but
straight to it. You're like, this is what's happening.
yeah, what's gonna happen? I think I know what's gonna happen.
Oh
Uh,
no, I don't know. Let me think
yeah,
about it.
what could happen in this match? You really don't know, huh? But yeah, so Condon slips out, man. My California boy in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
man, I really thought he had it. He had a good season. I think we. I'm optimistic about the next few years of Wisconsin. Not super optimistic. There's other teams that are just climbing the ladder faster than we are, man. Illinois, Minnesota. Illinois had a phenomenal Big Tens. I mean, even if we say we get Amos and we get Zargo back, we're nowhere near competing as good as Illinois competed at this tournament. We can't come close to beating Minnesota, and that was a few years ago. We beat Minnesota in a duel. I don't think we were a better tournament team than them, but we beat them in a duel. We're so far now. We've slipped down so far. It's so hard to see.
Yeah. I mean, we took what, second to last place at the Big Tens. We beat Michigan State
13th.
only.
Yeah, we doubled Michigan State's points, but that was it.
Yeah. I mean, 3 qualifiers is. I think what we did at the beginning of the year, we put the over under at what, 3.5, and I think we both took the under for 3, or was it 2.5? I don't know, but I think the entire time we were banking on 2 to 3, 4 guys at the most, right? And do you think that because they kind of matched expectations, that that's going to tell people that they're on the right track, things are getting better, or do you think that it's kind of still writing on the wall?
No, because I think we were being realistic with our expectations, given the unfortunate circumstances with the team. I mean, I think
Yeah.
they matched very, very, very low expectations. So I don't think that shows anyone that we're on any right track. This is probably even my freshman year or my redshirt freshman year with Barry Davis, who was fired that year. Did we have 10 guys or did we have 9 guys go to NCAAs?
I think he retired, but we had 9 with it. It was 9 because I think it was Eli that didn't get the allocation, the whatever it's called.
So did Eli not get it 2 years in a row?
No, I think Eli did get it the first year. He didn't get it the second year
Huh. Okay.
because that
Um,
first year he had the win over Albert. The second year he did not.
yeah, the win over Albert, I think, sent him to the tournament.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and so even then we had 9 guys, and that was considered a down year because we only had one All-American, and I was the only All-American. This
That is
year,
true to consider that was like a down year, and that's, I mean, so much further than where the team is right now.
they have 3 times more guys competing at NCAAs than there are now.
On a down year,
Um,
technically, or what it was viewed as.
yeah, and certainly a substantial down year for University of Wisconsin now, but it's like we we could have so many more guys. We could have Amos could have been a qualifier, Zargo could have been a qualifier, but that puts us at 5. That's not great at all.
Yeah, it's definitely
Even
better. It looks better, and I think that that's kind of what the coaches must have been hoping for. Is that we think we have 2 pretty solid guys down at the bottom. I think they probably thought Condon. I think Gable might have even been a surprise for them, to be completely honest. He didn't even start the year for him at 65. But then I think
Gable
they were
must have
like,
been a shock.
oh, yeah, for sure. But I think, like, with Braxton and Zargo, there is reason to think that, like, okay, the situation isn't dire, right? But
Right?
we need to start seeing some development, is really what I think. If we start to see some development, I think maybe my tune will change, right? My outlook will change.
Yeah. Let's see how, for example, how Condon does. If Condon next year is not making it to NCAAs, we have a serious, serious problem.
Because he's pretty
Um,
highly recruited.
yeah, I had us taking 4 earlier in the year, which is like, I mean, I feel like I mean, it doesn't really matter 3 or 4, but I figured
Yeah.
Condon would make it, was a reliable pick. He didn't make it, but I figured we'd have Condon of the other 2 that made it by themselves, and I figured we'd have one surprise, which was Gable.
Gable,
So I thought
right?
we would have 4. Um, but yeah, still frustrating, but we'll see. I think we have a lot of freestyle ahead of us.
Yeah, a lot of
So
answers
we'll
to
see
be
how
answered.
they do. Yeah, exactly. Um, so I have my favorite. I'll just ask you, who was your favorite underdog at the Big Ten tournament? I'm debating between Von Barr and Kenan Webster.
Kenna Webster was going to be
Obviously,
mine.
Von Barr he beat Bartlett. Webster
Yep,
beats Van Ness.
Mendez or Van Ness.
Van Ness, yeah. Mendez
Yes, my
lost to
fault.
Hardy. No,
Yes, yeah, Hardy won it that day because he beat Mendez and then he beat Von Bar.
was that way? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
two
So
different
I
weight
mean,
classes.
I'm
I messed up.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think Von Barr, Von Barr is probably my favorite there.
I like the way he wrestles. It's pretty wide open. I was most impressed by Cannon Webster. I think that just watching him wrestle, it seemed like he really had a game plan and he stuck to it really well. Right? He seems like if he's got a game plan for you going into a match, he's really tough to beat. Um, I didn't really see him be too dynamic in how he's getting to attacks. Like it was just a lot of
Just
heavy hand
fundamental.
fight, control and center. Yeah, he's very fundamental, which is like honestly, if you can do that consistently, you're going to be a very good wrestler.
Yeah.
And I think that he kind of just had the perfect game plan um, that whole tournament, and it was impressive to see. Like watching his semis match, getting that takedown, and then I don't know. I was just impressed with him. I like watching him wrestle. I remember watching him wrestle back in high school, so I've kind of watched him kind of come up through it all, and it's nice to see him succeed.
Yeah, it just shows a lot of maturity in his wrestling style, but I do think that Von Barr has been looking really good this entire season. I think he had a one
Yeah,
point match or an overtime match with Bartlett before.
yeah,
And gosh, it was just impressive to see Von Barr, and he's got like a sort of swagger to him. He was kind of talking a little bit after he won. I don't know what he said on the mat, but he was talking a little bit. He was feeling himself after he won that match. So
yeah.
I like to see that out of a guy. He was excited. I think he could be a good pick for the tournament. If you're looking for a really big
Really,
underdog, yeah, big underdog. I'm not gonna pick him, but I wouldn't knock anyone who's going to pick him. Let's see what his seed is. I mean, I think the
I'm looking
dude.
right now.
How does the
What
dude
weight class is this
not?
again? I forgot what.
This is Von Bar is 141.
I thought it was 41. He didn't. He's still pretty low seated. One is
Yeah,
Hardy.
six. He's six. So he'll have Jesse Mendez. He'll have Jesse Mendez, then he'll have Bo Bartlett in the semis.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
Having Brock Hardy as the one, I think it's warranted, but that's also just insane that Bartlett and Mendez are on the same side.
Bartlett, Mendez, and Von Bar.
Yeah, you're right. I should add Von Bar in there. My fault.
That's nuts that they're on the same side. Brock Hardy is. I mean, he's an animal. I think he could take it. Um,
I do think that that bottom side is much, much deeper. I mean, shoot, number five, Kale Happel could very well make it to the semis over Coder Hent, or however you say
yeah,
his name, Coder Hart. Like down in the
Coderhead.
bottom, there's just more guys. To be honest, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
I mean, Tegan Jameson, he was in the finals at Cliff Keen earlier this year, wasn't he?
Tegan Jameson. Yes. No, I think he popped off on the backside. So
Maybe
41
that's okay.
was it was Mendez in the finals with I forget who, but it wasn't that guy.
I'm
It wasn't
almost
that guy.
positive it was Tegan Jameson from Oklahoma State, but it's okay. Let's
Maybe,
move on.
maybe, maybe.
That's a tough bracket. I'm in so far. I
Yeah.
guess one of the takeaways that I've had is like I'm excited for this year's tournament, dude. Like a lot of these brackets are pretty freaking deep, and looks like chaos is going to happen.
Yeah, I thought the team race would be a little bit closer. I mean, I was watching Big Tens, dude, and Van Ness goes down, Bartlett goes down, um,
Yeah, on paper it
97
didn't look like
pounder.
on
drops out.
paper, it didn't look like Penn State was having a good day.
No, and then it comes out after the tournament that they broke their record. I mean, Josh Barr injury defaulted out and took sixth. Braden Davis, I think, took fifth or sixth. And it's like, okay, all right, these guys are, you know, they're not everything that everyone says they are, and then they break the record, and it's like, oh my gosh, what the hell is going on? So it's
Yeah,
just like I thought
it's
that
kind of
there was going to be
confusing.
some vulnerability there, and there's just they were not vulnerable at all. They're still going to take this tournament at NCAA's very easily, I think.
Yeah, it was a little confusing. I would maybe when they open the field up a little bit, those guys that took sixth maybe don't place now, right? Maybe they have a couple kids that fall out of AA contention. Maybe that makes things a little bit more interesting.
Braden Davis, you're saying?
Well, I'm saying Davis. I mean, if Barr's injuries may be too much to overcome in a week and a half, you
Yeah,
know,
I've heard he's injured pretty good, so it could be interesting.
what'd you hear?
I heard well, so I'm hearing from one guy. So I'm in the same room with the
This is
people
the
who are
rumor
talking.
mill, everybody.
This is the rumor mill. I'm in the same room. Someone says MCL, someone says ACL, and the other person says Achilles.
So no one knows.
All very substantial injuries. So if one of them is correct, if just one of those people is correct, this kid's got his work cut out for him at the NCAA tournament.
Breaking news: he might have broke his entire leg, and everything might have ripped in there as well. We'll see what he does.
Yeah, dude, this is why I don't talk about that stuff because in the same room it's like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's like
which one of you guys is hearing this the right thing? We got three different injuries here.
as soon as I hear three different injuries, my brain shuts off. Okay, you guys have no idea, so let's move on.
Yeah, we all have no clue. This is all speculation. We basically
Yeah,
just saw him get hurt and came to a conclusion and then said that we heard something. That's what happened there.
dude, this is a side tangent. One of like the things that bugs me the most when I'm having conversations, and it's with anybody. There's no one in particular. It's just like a pet peeve of mine when you have that conversation with anybody, and they're like, "Well, I think it could be this." If you ask them a question, it's like, "Well, do you know that?" Because that's really what I'm trying to figure out, right? Do you? If I ask you something and you're like, "Well, I think it's a whatever," I'm like, "Are you sure?" Well,
Yeah, it's like
no.
I'm not asking for your opinion, dude.
Yeah,
Trying to get to the bottom of this.
maybe that just makes me a jerk. I don't know, but pet peeve.
No, I know what you're saying. Like some people need to know whether or not I'm asking for their opinion or asking for facts. And usually I'm not asking for
What
people's
they
opinion,
try
but
to
I don't
figure out
care.
the answer for me is like, dude, I can brainstorm with you. That's not why I asked you.
Yeah, exactly. I've done my own brainstorming. Thank you very much. Um,
It's a very
but
mean way
yeah,
to look at
so
it.
um, NCAA's, who would you say is the most outlandish pick that you got?
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't gone through all of my picks yet. Um, I was gonna kind of do it as we go down the line, quick look at it.
I could tell you.
But
I could tell you all my picks.
all right, well, listen, brother, I don't get to go and lift and post it on my Instagram for a living.
I did my homework. I
Mm-hmm.
played a couple rounds of Fortnite, looked up the brackets in between Fortnite rounds, and here I am.
You're killing it, dude. I I'm kind of
Um,
looking through right now. What weight class? Tell me what weight class you're thinking is like your wildest pick.
174, and it's wild. I'm not gonna be over here picking people who are eight seated and below. It's
No,
not what's gonna
I would
happen.
imagine you're probably picking Hamidi if I had to guess.
Yes, Hamidi. I think Hamidi
Yeah,
can take
I
it.
I called that. I don't think he beats Levi Haynes. I'll be honest with you.
The problem he's gonna face is if he beat Keegan O'Toole, he'd be the number one seed right now, and he'd have a
True.
smooth route. He'd have a smooth route
Very true.
to, but he didn't, and he almost did, but he didn't. Um, but
So I
he'll
think
have
that
Levi
he
Haynes and then
is. I
Keegan.
think he's good enough to make the finals. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think he is good enough to make the finals. I think he is a finals. My thing is all choppy. Sorry, guys,
I can hear you
but
fine.
no,
I get you fine.
okay, perfect. He is a kid who is good enough to go and make the finals and potentially win the thing. I believe that too. I don't know if I just don't see how he beats Levi Haynes personally. I guess I could see it. I just don't see it happening. So
Yeah,
I like the pick. Good dark horse, but
he's my dark horse. I think he could beat Levi Haynes. I think his how dynamic he is can pose some real big problems for Haynes. I mean, look, Dean Hamity really should be one of the wins over Mitchell Messenbrink last year. Mitchell's only lost to one guy, and that was David Carr. Dean Hamity went up 9-3 on the
yeah,
dude. I'm pretty sure it was 9-3,
yeah.
right? 9-3 on
I see
Mitchell
what you're saying.
Messenbrink. This dude's an animal. I think
I
I
know. I
think
see
he
what you're
could
saying.
very well beat Levi Haynes, and I think we saw the match with Keegan. That could be an interesting match, man. That could be an interesting match again.
What did you think about Keegan in that match?
I got to be honest. I actually did not watch the match. I was driving up to San Luis Obispo from LA. I watched Big Tens. I
Oh, really?
watched the early finals of Big 12s, and then I had to drive up to here. What'd you think?
It definitely looked like it was a close match for sure. Um, I just think that O'Toole was just so savvy, dude. You know,
I heard
like
he had nothing for him early match.
no early match. It kind of looked like it was going to be for Keegan. Um,
Hmm.
Looked like there was a good game plan coming out there by Hamidi. Um,
Did it look like a game plan, or did
I'm.
it look like he was kind of flowing out there and just kind of doing his thing?
Are we talking about Dean?
Yeah, Hamity.
No, he looked flowy. I think I'll tell you what. I wonder if Keegan's 100%. I would almost bet he's not, considering how much time he's missed this year. And I wonder if that kind of had
Yeah, no
something to
way
play
he's
with it as
healthy.
well.
No way he's healthy.
But
Takes a whole month
I'm
off. Yeah,
interested.
then that's
Yeah,
it. But he
something's
still
wrong,
beat
and
he
he's
still beat
obviously
the
trying
guy.
to come back and wrestle,
Yeah, and still beat
which is insane.
probably one of the top 20 pound for pound guys in probably top 15 pound for pound guys in the country. Well, I'm assuming he's hurt. So super
Right.
impressive. And whether he's hurt or not, he beat the guy. So Keegan has a really good chance of winning the dang thing. But here's an interesting fact.
Yes.
Keegan has second round has Lorenzo Norman.
Yeah.
Second round. Dude, some of the seeds, there's some matches in here. We could go over that right now. There's some insane matches that are happening like second and third round. Some insane
Give me
matches.
some. Give me some examples. Give
Brock
me weight
Hardy in
classes
the
too.
quarterfinals, 141. Brock Hardy has Andrew Alirez in the quarters.
Why is he the 8 seed? Who did he just lose to?
I forget he lost in the Big 12 finals. Somebody.
That had to be to Tegan Jameson, right? Number 7.
Yeah, had to have been to him.
Well, you and I's in the Big 12 too. Kale Happel.
I don't think Caleb beat him.
Well, there's two Big
Uh,
12 guys ahead of him.
Let me give you. Wait 5 seconds, and I'll tell you exactly who beat him. Taking Jameson in sudden victory, 13-6.
And you weren't giving Tegan Jameson his due.
I don't think Taking Jameson made the Cliff Keen finals.
That's okay. Alirez as the 8 seed is a little crazy. I agree. I mean, that's a pretty shit draw for Hardy. I'm not gonna lie. As a number 1 seed, when you finally get the number 1 seed, you're not looking forward to having a guy like Alirez as an 8.
Right.
But
Yeah,
to
Alirez is
be
an eight
honest,
seed is.
I think Happel is the guy that comes out to the semis there. I would imagine Alirez and Hardy's to me a toss up in the quarters. That's a tough quarters match. I agree.
I think Hardy has it. Hardy's my pick for the 141 title. I think
Is it
Hardy has
really?
it. Yeah, I mean he's on one right now. He won the tournament at Big Tens. I liked
Yep.
his post match interview. He seems to be really feeling himself. He's got his confidence going. Alirez is certainly a freestyle wrestler. He competes well against freestyle guys, and he can compete well against anybody in freestyle. He could beat Yanni, he could beat Zane, he could beat anybody in freestyle. He could beat Nick Lee in freestyle. But folk style is
Right.
different. I think Brock Hardy beats Alirez. I don't want to say decisively, but I'm 75% sure Brock Hardy takes that one. That ain't no 50-50 to me. I'm
That's
pretty confident.
interesting.
But still a horrible seed
Okay.
for them to be meeting in the quarters. Lorenzo Norman meets
What's
Keegan
another tough
O'Toole.
match right off?
Listen to this.
Okay.
Round two. Ja'Cory Teamer meets Meyer Shapiro.
Yeah, that's. I'll
That was
be
second
honest. I
place
that's
and third
insane
place
just with
last year.
name. Yeah, that's insane with just name value. But this year, I mean, Teamer recently, I guess I should say, he just hasn't looked like his old self. Um, Maybe transferring into the Big Ten wasn't the best idea. I don't think he's used to
Maybe
wrestling
not.
that tough a match every single week. Maybe that's
Mm-mm.
something to. I, I don't know. What do you?
Yeah,
Hippolyto's the
hey man,
four seed, really?
who has fourth seed?
This is my first time looking at 57.
Yeah,
This is a
think about that,
semi
man.
bracket reveal for some of these weight classes for me, which is kind of nice. I get to
Yeah.
you get to see my reactions
Um,
live.
I see Shapiro over Teamer
I agree.
pretty pretty easily. Although
I think he breaks Teamer.
I think Shapiro might be a little bit of a head case. I'm not sure.
He hasn't. It's kind of insane that he's only wrestled 12 matches this year. I just looked at his thing too, and his one loss was like a default. I don't even know.
Probably injury or something.
Yeah,
Was it to a
maybe.
Harvard kid?
It was like the first match of the year.
Okay. Um, Ruiz from Arizona State meets Peyton Hall round two.
I saw that,
Nico Ruiz
and
is
that's
good
if he
too.
beats Max Mayfield because Mayfield's tough.
Mayfield's tough. Who has Mayfield? Nico Ruiz?
Yeah,
Nico Ruiz takes that. I think Nico Ruiz takes that.
it's yeah. I
Um,
agree. He takes it. It's still a tough match in my eyes. Like that's a good first round match.
Stephen Little and Beard. Stephen Little pulled the 18 seed, I believe.
That's 97, right?
Yeah. That's just I just don't get it. I don't understand what's going on at these seating meetings. I mean, I think that needs to be nuanced and balanced in a way where we shouldn't have
Little has the
returning
12 seed.
NCAA uh Little has 12 seed. Okay, yeah. I just think it shouldn't be like Ja'Cory Teamer getting the 18 seed is nuts to me. It's nuts to me. I don't see how that happens.
Yeah, like his losses this year haven't been to scrubs, and there's only four
No.
of them. I don't know how that warrants an 18 seed. I agree. Like it's low. It should be low. I don't know if it should be that low.
Yeah. He's
It
eight
should
and
probably
four.
be like 6 through 8, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just I mean I bet the people who actually see these brackets probably hate the wrestling community because we're so back and forth between, people shouldn't be dropping out of the Big Ten tournament and getting seated high, and then Carter Starachi drops out of the Big Ten tournament and gets seated ninth, and everyone's like, why did this dude get seated ninth just because he drops out of the Big Ten tournament?
Well, I mean, Barr's the 4 seed, and you just said that he defaulted to sixth at the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, so what he had a little bit more of a
Body of work, I agree,
year.
but
Yeah, 8 and 4 teamer versus what's Bar? Bar's probably had 20
Barr
matches.
is 16-3.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that counts. But I do think that someone needs to be in there saying, "Hey, Carter Starachi injury defaulted out of the tournament. Let's still put him at number two or number one." But they don't do that. I don't know why. Uh, so
Yeah, I don't know.
interesting. Um,
I mean, you wouldn't say
Stephen
the
Little
teamer
too.
should be number 1 and number 2, right?
No, no, I don't think he'd be number one or number two. But just looking at the bracket, like the Virginia Tech
I
kid,
mean,
I
yeah.
mean,
Brandon
Hippolyto is.
Cannon, he's had a good year. Is it wrong to say that I think that 57 is probably pound for pound the weakest weight class?
65 has to be the weakest weight class,
Is
considering how much
65 pretty bad?
Mess and Brink has just completely torched everybody.
I would imagine that See, I disagree with that because I think Caliendo is tough. I think Bear Claw is tough. I think Peyton Hall is a worthy opponent. Like they may not be on Mitchell Messenbrink's level, but I wouldn't say that it's a down weight. There's still good talent in there.
Yeah, I I just think
Like
when you
Cam
look at it
Steed's
and you
a
see
tough kid.
like it's just nobody has anything for Mitchell. And last year at least, he had some competitors, Hamity, Carr, O'Toole in that weight class. It was by far that was probably one of the deepest weight classes that we've ever seen in the NCAA tournament. Um, but I mean Caliendo last year I think probably got teched by Hamity, got teched by Messenbrink, could have got teched by Carr. Like and he's the number three
Right.
seed now. Peyton Hall got teched by Hamity last year. He's the two seed. They're good guys. It's just I think that Messenbrink easily takes it. Easily takes it. He was such a favorite in the betting odds. It's insane. Um, but yeah, I guess maybe that's not worth saying it's the weakest weight. I guess there's a case to be made that maybe 125 is the weakest weight. Lilidol, a true freshman, is the one seed.
I guess that's
And
fair. Uh,
last year was
right.
hands down the most chaotic weight ever because nobody ever could hold the title of number one.
That's a good point. All right, I got my picks. You ready to put them down?
Yeah, let's go 125. I'll go first. Each of these.
You'll go
I
first
got
in all of them.
on all of them.
Okay.
I got Lilidol. He dominated Matt Ramos. Um, looked really good for a freshman. Looked
Yeah.
composed. Looked like he had a strategy. His defense was on point. His offense was on point. He wasn't falling for any of Matt Ramos's funk. He looked good. Number two seed Matt Ramos, three seed Ventressa, number four seed Robinson. I don't
Uh,
think that.
question: Do you
Mhm.
know how Robinson did in the ACCs? I didn't get to see that result.
Robinson's 18-3. I think he lost in the ACC finals.
He lost um, to Ventresca. Has
Yeah,
to
to
be right.
Ventressa. Yeah.
Okay. I put Matt Ramos. I like that he's on the opposite side of Robinson. I like that he's on the opposite side of Figueroa. I think that those two guys present problems for Lilladol potentially, right? And that's if he
Okay.
gets Caleb Smith's a tough guy to beat along the way, right?
It's tough. Yeah.
Um, I just think Max Ramos. I trust him to get to the finals more than I trust Lilladol to get to the finals personally. I think he's got the experience of being at this tournament. I think he kind of knows what it requires. I'm going to go with Ramos.
I like that pick. I like your reasoning. I think Caleb Smith is a big threat for Lilidol, and he's the
He
ninth
has a
seed.
head to head over him, doesn't he, this year?
No, I don't think he beat him. I
The,
think Lilidol beat
who beat
him.
Lilladol in the duels this year?
I know Ohio State kid pinned him. Brendan McCrone pinned him.
Okay.
But he was
I would assume
cooking
that's a
Brendan
fluke.
McCrone. Fluke. He was
Yeah,
cooking Brendan McCrone in that tournament, in that duel, and loses to it. Lose to him.
I'm looking right now.
But
Dean
I think
Peterson beat him 4-1. He beat Caleb Smith 4-2.
wow, yeah, because
Yeah,
Caleb Smith was his first test. So you got Ramos, I got Lilidol, like
that at
that.
12-4 is a tough loss though. Yeah, I'll stick with Ramos though.
Okay.
133.
Next bracket. Actually, you go first, and
You want me to
then
go first?
next one I'll go first. Yeah, we'll switch going first each time.
I went back and forth on this one for a little bit. I'll be honest because I while Bird is my guy, right? I think I've been high on him all year. I trusting him to get there is tough. When you got Braden Davis as the 8, Romney is the 4. Shoot,
Yep.
I just there's a lot of talent up there, but and then down in the bottom side, saying he makes it to the finals, he's got to beat Ayala again. He's got to beat Nasir Bailey again, which is going to be tough. And I really like Ayala. I like the way he wrestles. But give me my boy Bird.
Bird.
Yeah, I went with Bird.
Okay, I got Romney.
Homer.
I got Romney. I think he's looking really good. He's very
Yep.
composed. He's got his weight really under control these last few days. He kind of had a hiccup in the middle of the season with his weight. He's looking really good lately. And I think he got a really good draw. Dominic Serrano from
Yeah.
UNC, Northern Colorado. He's beat that kid on multiple times. Pretty good. I think he matches up well against Lucas Bird. He's funky. He could take him down.
Yeah, he's gonna
I
create
wouldn't say bottom, I guess.
some action.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's funky. The one guy I don't like is Drake Ayala. It's the one guy I don't like against Zeph. But I think Nasir Bailey has been on one this last year, or late in this year, and I think Nasir Bailey will pose some serious problems for Drake Ayala.
I really hope that Ayala's not kind of on that like Thomas Gilman track where you're tough, you're consistently one of the top guys, maybe the top guy each year, and then each year you just fall short. Kind of
Yeah,
like
I
an
don't know
Iowa thing.
why.
Marinelli was the same way.
Very much so an Iowa thing. I think that's they hold on to that because they think it's going to get him better, but man, it's just seemed to have been proven wrong on so many occasions.
I mean, even Spencer Lee to a certain extent.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Spencer Lee as much as the other guys, but I know what you're saying. Ramos, Marinelli, and Metcalf found success with it, but I just think it's limited.
Yeah, it's
I
not that
think
they
it was
can't find success.
yeah, Gilman. I mean, I think it was the thing to do for a while, but now that Penn State has completely changed the game, I think we see that that's not necessarily what you got to be doing. But I don't think necessarily that Drake Ayala is doing that. But
What
you
are we
never
saying
know.
doing? I'm confused. He's not doing what?
Falling into that kind of that Iowa
Okay, yeah.
mentality of just,
Well, I
grind,
don't think it's
grind,
a
grind,
mentality.
grind,
I
grind.
just think it's a thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that wasn't the point I was making. Yeah, I
Oh,
wasn't
I
saying
thought you were
anything
making a different
about
point.
like the. No, I was just talking about like their performance at NCAA's as a whole. Like Gilman was
Okay,
always a
and I
guy
just
that was
yeah,
tops. Like he never was a national champ. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
That was
You're
more
saying you
along the
want to
lines
see
of what I was
him be
talking
a
about.
national champ. You want to
I would
see him
like
be
to
a
see
national champ
Ayala
real
be a
quick.
national champ. I think he's a solid
Yeah.
wrestler. I think he does the right things. I like the way he wrestles. I'd like to see it, but I went with Bird at 33.
Bird,
You're up at
I'll go with
41.
Romney. 41, Hardy.
You're up. Yeah, you got Hardy. That's right.
Hardy is on one. He had a good tournament at Big Tens. I thought that Vombar would be a better match for him than he was. He really kind of dominated Vombar. I didn't think that Vombar had too much for him. And who'd he beat in the semis? Jesse Mendez?
Yeah,
Jesse
he beat
Mendez
Jesse
going into the
Mendes.
season was my number one pound for pound. Jesse Mendez was my number one pound for pound.
I
I
remember I had that
I
conversation with you.
my next favorite guy is Jesse Mendez. But I just don't know. I think that Brock Hardy is he's got his confidence going and that's hard to beat. And he's proven he could
That's fair.
beat all of them. Yeah.
That's fair. I like Jesse Mendes a lot, um, but I mean, Bo Bartlett's beaten him twice. Was it two or three times this year? I think it's twice, and then the third one in the was it only two?
Twice.
Okay.
And that's good to see because I thought that Jesse Mendez would injury default after he lost to Hardy at Big Tens. He didn't. He kept wrestling. I respect that.
No, hard. Yeah, no. Mendes is a dog. Like,
Dog.
yeah. But for my pick, I went with Bartlett. I think he presents problems for Hardy if he gets there. I think he presents problems for Alirez if he gets there. And then I he's shown that he can beat Mendez consistently this year. He seems like he's kind of figured something out with him. Von Barr's got to get through Mendez if he wants even a chance to have Bartlett. You know, um,
Yeah.
I just I have more faith in Bartlett getting there. In which case, I means I have more faith in him winning.
Vaughn would be a good pick to win it if he didn't have to go through Mendez in the quarters, Bartlett in the semis, and then presumably Mark Hardy in the finals. I don't see that happening. If he
I
does,
don't see.
hats off to the
Yeah,
dude. Greatest wrestling tournament that probably anybody's ever had. Greatest upset wrestling tournament anyone's ever had. Um,
that would be insane.
Speaking of Jesse Mendez being a dog, if you had to create, I don't want to say create, but who do you think wins the BMF title for wrestling?
Well, right now,
Yeah, this year. I think last year was
Caleb.
Endonian. Endonian would be a good BMF title contender, but this year's different.
Uh, See, I guess I see it differently than you see it. I see the BMF as like the Hodge, like the most dominant. Like that dude's just the best.
Well, no, because Gaethje held the BMF. He never even won a championship.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's a silly title.
I like it. I like the BMF. Like you look at the UFC and it's like, okay, Gaethje might not be a contender, but this dude's he's a
Who's
dog.
the
He
best of the middle
scraps.
tier? That's basically what it is.
No, who's the scrappiest? Who's the toughest? Because there's some guys who are just good.
Yeah. Okay. Who do I have? Are we talking about the entire tournament or this weight class?
Entire tournament.
I'd have to think about it. Give me a little bit.
Like, for example, at 157, Meyer Shapiro is definitely a lot better than let's pick someone, Cody Chittum. But Cody Chittum, I think, takes the BMF title in that one.
I know
He's tougher.
who I'd probably give it to if he was wrestling this year.
Who?
The Iowa State kid, the one who's always jabbering with the ref or the other coach, or
Ekamendia?
that's who I'd pick. No, not
Ekamendia?
Echemendia. Blonde hair kid, Swiderski.
Oh yeah, Casey Swiderski.
That's who I'd pick.
Ah, he's good. That's a good pick. That's a really
He's
good pick, actually.
he's a BMF.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, 149.
49. I got Caleb
Yeah,
Henson.
let's get through these picks. Yeah, I got Henson as well. I think secondary pick would be Van Ness. Um, but no, I think Caleb Henson he's just a tough kid.
Henson's fresh. He didn't have to go through the Big Tens at 149. I
Yeah,
think he takes it easily. He's also probably one of the toughest dudes I've ever seen wrestle. His style and everything is super impressive. He's a BMF guy who just also happens to be really good. I like
yeah,
Caleb Henson. He's
he's a
my
good pick.
pick. If I'm a betting man and I'm not and I can't bet on heavyweight or 165, I think Henson takes it. He's just so gritty, so tough, man, and he's so solid. His defense is sharp, his offense is sharp, and he's just constantly in your face. All right, next one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with Henson.
I'll go. I want to go Meyer Shapiro so bad, but I've just heard that I don't know if he's got the clutch gene. I don't know if he's got the clutch gene. So I
You
think
don't
I
think
got to
he
go
can get
Tyler
it done the
Kasek.
day of?
No, no, I don't.
I think Kasak's quite the opposite, right? He's a kid where you'd say that kid's got something. He's got the clutch gene. He just gets the job done. And I think
Just
I agree
always
with
gets the
that.
job done.
Like I pick Kasak too.
Yeah, and that's just look, I want to pick a guy who's going to surprise everybody, but I don't think there's going to be a surprise here. I think Tyler Kasek is going to take it.
And I think with a weak weight class like this, like Kasak's kind of established himself. So I think anything else besides Kasak, even if it was the 2 seed Shapiro, would be somewhat of a surprise. You know, like Antrell Taylor, the 3 seed, if he wins, that might be like the surprise of the tournament.
Oh yeah, that would be incredibly surprising.
You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
think
And that's only the 3 seed.
he didn't even take third. I don't even think he took third at Big Tens. That'd be crazy if he wins it. But yeah, I see what you're saying. 165. Mess and break. Come on. I don't know. You got anything
Yeah.
else?
Next topic.
All right. 174. Uh, Hamity. I got Hamity. And that's the one. That's the one that I'm. This is my one weight class where I'm gonna say. I know it shocks everybody, but I really do think that this guy has a good chance of pulling it off. I think that he could beat Haynes. O'Toole beat Haynes. Um, Hamity had a great match with O'Toole.
Yeah.
I think he could beat. I think he could beat Haynes, and I think he could beat O'Toole. He's just so sharp. He's always wrestling incredibly offensive. He's taking it to his opponent. He does not get tired. I haven't seen him get tired other than maybe in that match with Messenbrink. That was so weird. But Hamity takes it. Who you got?
I kind of like what you're saying with all that, and I think it's interesting because I almost do think that Oklahoma State's got to find a national champ this year, right? Just kind of for a storyline. If you think about
Right.
it, who's that guy? It's probably not Plot at 84. Maybe Spratley
Mm-mm.
surprises people at 25, but I doubt it. So I mean, I think Dean Hamidi's the best option for him. You know, and I think you're right. He is in a position where it could happen. If he can get past Haynes, I kind of like his odds with Rustin Keegan the first second time. But I think Haynes is probably too much for him, and I just think that Haynes' style, similarly the way you see Henson, I see Levi Haynes, right? Like to me, watching him, a lot of the time he's just a flawless wrestler with his head hands defense, the way he hand fights, the way he's able to open angles into his attacks, the way he quick, strong finish, and he's just relentless on top. He gets away on bottom quick. Like he's just an impressive wrestler.
But I think Hamity has made quick, easy work of guys who are very solid and fundamental like that. Like I thought when he came up against Patrick Kennedy or he came up against Carson Karchula, this is Hamity. I thought that it was going to be close and we were going to see Hamity get exposed, but he didn't. And he like teched Patrick Kennedy. He almost
I don't
teched
see Levi
Carson
Haynes in the
Karchula.
same stratosphere as those two.
They're not. They're not. He's not going to. This is not going to be a tech. But I think that his style is so different. It's going to throw Haynes for a serious loop, and I don't know if he's necessarily ready for that.
I'd be interested in seeing it. I don't see that happening, but that would be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun match to watch. Hamidi is always
I,
fun to watch.
I just looked at 84 for the first time. There's a couple of these I haven't seen yet, but McAnally being the three, that intrigues me. I want to see that Kekais and McAnally match. That might be like one of the ones that I'm most excited for.
I wonder. He's so good. McAnally is so good.
Like
That
that's
scares
that's
me
an
for.
that's a crazy I mean, it's a semis match, so it's a deep weight class. Plot's 4,
I
Bennett
got.
Bergey's 5,
I
Focus
got
6.
Parker.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I got
I
Parker
got
too. Oh,
Parker.
you got Parker winning the whole thing.
I got Parker winning the whole thing.
Interesting. I was gonna go with Staraki. I was picking the top dog there.
I don't think Strachey has too much trouble with Dustin Plot at all.
I would agree. Yeah, I'd agree.
Um, Look at this, number 33, TJ McDonald, 7-13. It's crazy. He made the tournament.
Where's he
Um,
wrestling from? I can't see
Oregon
it.
State,
Um,
number 33
Oregon
seed.
State. Oh, pretty honest. There we go.
But Parker Kekheisen, 24-0. And I've seen Carter wrestle some matches this year that are just really too close. McAnally goes into overtime, wrestles Angelo Ferrari, doesn't get a takedown or anything.
Tight. Yeah.
Um, Close match. I don't know if Carter is on top of his game right now. Um,
I
I'll
guess
take Parker.
2 questions for that. I'll tell you. I go with Starachi. I just think he gets it done again. I think he, similarly to who we were talking about earlier, he's got that clutch gene. Um,
Okay.
does the Carter versus Parker NWCA duels
No,
kind of have anything
just
that plays in your head at all with it, or no?
it does. I don't know if Parker was too prepared for that match. I think Penn State
You
prepares
don't
for
think
that
so?
match well. No, I don't think so.
Interesting. Why is that?
I trained with him probably a month before, and I think from what he was saying, he wasn't really training at all. I was like, "You got a month until you wrestle Strachey, dude. You should be ready for that." But he wasn't. Um, but I
I
think
guess
he's
okay.
kind of a seasoned wrestler. When's the last time he's wrestled a freestyle match?
We're talking about
Parker.
Kekheisen.
Yeah, that's what I just think that
It's been
he's
a
not very
minute. I
much
don't
a
think he
summer
wrestled last year.
wrestler. I think he just prepares very well through the NCAA wrestling season. And I think that he's prepared now, and Strachey's kind of probably dwindling a little bit after a long, long season.
Maybe that'd be interesting. Uh, the other question I had was Arnold being the 84 pounder for Iowa. Did you kind of expect that? Were you a little surprised that it wasn't Ferrari
I
um,
ex
at Big
I
Tens? What'd
mean,
you think?
you never know what to expect. I think Iowa wants to throw out their top dogs usually, but maybe there is something good about holding Angelo back. Um, gives him more years. Arnold was looking really good throughout the entirety of the year. Had a
Right.
really close match with McAnally. Um, but yeah, I think I expected Arnold to be in the lineup, wrestle the whole season.
Yeah, I kind of expected that too. I know some people probably thought it might have gone the other way, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. All right, let's round it
Yeah,
out strong with 97 and heavy.
97. I got AJ Ferrari.
I've also got Ferrari. That might be the first one that
Yeah,
we've. Was that? No, that's not true. We both picked Kasak and Mitchell and Henson. Never mind.
17 and 0, AJ Ferrari. Going into his match with Little, I gotta say I didn't know what was gonna happen. He dominated that match. I mean, it was
Yeah,
only I think 2-0. Yeah,
I wouldn't say that Little is the type of guy that I thought would compete and maybe beat him. I do see Buchanan as a tough matchup for him
I do
for
see Steven
Ferrari.
Buchanan being, and I see Cardenas being an even tougher matchup after that match that Cardenas
I
had
would
with
agree with that
Buchanan.
as well. I think
Cardenas looked
Buchanan's able to
huge.
attack.
Yeah,
I'll talk
yeah,
about
Buchanan's
Buchanan.
able to
You talk
attack.
about Cardenas.
Okay.
Right, that's who you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, okay. So I thought Buchanan's. I think the way he wrestles on his feet. The first time I watched him, I was kind of confused. It's like, man, you kind of seem like you're going to gas out, just kind of the way he wrestles in his stance and the hand fight. But the second time I've watched him, and then the third time, he finds a rhythm in the way he moves. He's really good re-attacking right in the third period. He rides well. That's kind of his game plan. He gets away from bottom very quickly. I'm interested to see if he can get away from Ferrari pretty quickly. I think that makes things a little interesting. He's got solid
hmm
defense, right? He's tricky. He's long, so he's kind of got unconventional 197-pound defense, I would say. Um, and picking Ferrari, I am kind of worried about that matchup. But why are you kind of worried about Ferrari's matchup with Cardenas potentially?
Cardenas looked really good against Buchanan in the finals. He looked sharp. He looked like he's peaking well. Um, and I think he looked huge. The guy looked really strong for the weight class, and I think that's kind of where AJ has thrived.
Was
Stephen
with big
Little
guys or
was
being the strong guy?
being the strong guy, being the
Yeah,
guy who's Mr. Fast Twitch, right? Super strong,
yeah,
super fast. Cardenas looked like he can handle that, right? And he was strong enough. He got to Stephen Buchanan's legs when he wanted to, dominated the match.
right.
I don't know what was happening with him early season because I think he lost to Buchanan early on, but completely changed it up.
Yeah.
So that was good. But
You want to pick
heavyweight,
heavyweight first?
yeah, I thought that going into this season, I would have said that Greg Kerkvliet had a strong chance of beating Gable. But after that, watching that match at Big Tens, it was so disappointing. I mean, I went into it thinking it was going to be a really good match, and it was just a total letdown. I mean, the Gable just completely dominated. It looked like the match was scripted. Gable dominated. He got takedowns when he wanted to get them. Um, I don't think Kirk shot at all, and I mean, Gable just handled it easily. I mean, it was effortless. So I
Yeah,
got Gable easy.
I think people just overlooked Gable. I mean, if they thought that him versus Kerkvliet was going to be like some new match now because he took a little bit of time off, I just didn't see it. I don't. Watching him wrestle, it's like butter, dude. It's so smooth. It's so effortless. Like he just understands how to be dominant in the sport of wrestling. I
Dude,
I was gonna ask you this question. I don't even. I think it's the same thing with Wyatt Hendrickson. I don't think it's that close. I think he takes him down at will. He might fight him off maybe that first period, but I think by the second, third period, he's gonna get close to that major.
Gable works Wyatt Hendrickson. And it's like, dude, people wrestle all year round in order to be half as
Well,
good
so
as
do you
this dude
think
is.
that's true? Kerkvliet beats Hendrickson in the semis, then?
Kirk versus
That's
Hendrickson.
probably
Oh,
the
that's
more
a good one.
interesting.
Yeah, let's just talk about the semi because that's the only thing that's debatable. Kirk beats Hendrickson.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting matchup. I definitely think that Kirk's a better wrestler. Just watching them wrestle, I think Hendrickson kind of has that big movability. He understands how to pin you. I mean, that much is obvious.
Yeah,
But I think when it comes to wrestling positions, I feel like I would trust Kirk more. I feel like he's been there more. Maybe maybe that's the wrong way to look at it all, but it's kind of how I see it going
what
too.
what I notice when I watch Hendrickson is usually he wants to dominate early, and if he doesn't look that good. I
Yeah,
don't know if I've ever watched Hendrickson wrestle a good, solid, fundamental, strategized match.
a
It's
full 6 minute
usually
match, right?
a full 7 minute match rather. He
That's what I meant.
dominates.
Yeah,
He's either dominates or he loses, and that's
yeah.
kind of what I'm
No, I
seeing.
agree.
He did have a close match with Colton Schultz, um, but I think that's a guy that he should beat bad.
That is one
Uh,
guy that just makes everybody wrestle his style. It's kind of impressive.
what seed did he get? Oh, he got the 9 seed. Ooh, he might not All American this year.
Schultz getting a 9 seed. I guess I haven't really been following his year too much, but that's kind of insane just at face value. 5 losses. He was a big name 2 3 years ago.
Huge. He was a finalist. He had a 5-1
Yeah.
match against Gable.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you're getting a 5-1 match with Gable, you're able to make guys just wrestle your style. You understand how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. He has managed to surprise people on multiple occasions. That guy. Super impressive to watch him wrestle.
But team race, you think Penn State kind of runs away with it?
Cooks everybody, yeah. I thought
Yeah, I kind of
maybe
think that that's true.
I thought maybe Oklahoma State this year would be able to give a run for their money, but I don't think so. Second place though, I think Oklahoma State is in the running for that. Oklahoma State could probably take
Do
it.
you think there's any ACT? UNI, Oklahoma State, Nebraska. I don't think Iowa probably gets there. They were unimpressive. Do you think
No, I
there's
don't think
any
Iowa
ACC
gets to
team
second.
or maybe another Big Ten team that can push? I don't think Illinois makes a push, like a real push. Maybe Ohio State,
No, Illinois doesn't make it to push for second. I think really Oklahoma State, Minnesota could surprise some
Michigan.
people if Vombar comes out of nowhere and does some stuff, but I don't think he could. Um, I'm looking at the rankings. I think Ohio State could finish better than sixth where they're at. They've got some guys who are really, really good.
Are these
Um,
rankings with the pre-seeds, or how is that being articulated?
this is just the Flow
Okay.
Wrestling team rankings. Um, I think Okie State takes second. Right now, Iowa is ranked second. I'm gonna say
I would
Okie
agree
State
that they
takes it.
don't. I would say Oklahoma State's above Iowa. And I'm getting
Yeah,
tired. We
because
better wrap this up soon.
Teamer and Parco, we're not looking great. But yeah, I think it's a good place
Do
to
you have
wrap it
anything
all
else
up.
that you wanted to go over?
No, not really. Uh,
No.
no, I think that's
Maybe
a good discussion there.
maybe the next one, or depending on whether or not we tease you guys, we're thinking about getting a guest on again. We'll see how that goes. See if we can't find a time to get our guest on. But we
Hmm.
have a couple other things that we've been thinking about, right? Just kind of different topics and questions that we can discuss and maybe dive deeper into. If you guys have any thoughts on anything that we go over, um, just comments, questions, things you want us to talk about, let us know, right? Comment on Evan's perfect Instagram, right? Perfect so far. Go check out all our posts. Go check us
Perfection.
out on YouTube, Spotify, all of it, right? We want to interact with you guys, talk about what you guys want to hear about. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's just something that I feel like maybe people don't know yet.
yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Hope you guys enjoy the coming up NCAA championships, biggest wrestling event of the entire year. But good discussion here. Hopefully, mine and Patrick's picks will come true. I'll probably
It
have
can't both come
Patrick bet
true.
some money. Yeah, we're gonna bet some money on this. We'll see who's gonna be the winner in here. But hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Evan Wick,
Patrick Spray,
and this is episode 10 of Washed Up.
washed up.